Do I think an 80-20 running program is worth it? Yeah. It worked for me at least, and I'm going to show you everything I did, breaking down my whole training program for it. And plus, you could see my whole series of my Detroit Marathon where I have every single video of every single week of this training program. So yeah, I took my marathon time from 3:27:30 to 3:14:09. So overall, a good time improvement, but I think there was some stuff I did wrong during this whole training program. The program for me was about 19 weeks. I created it myself, so I just went off like what I think I should do based off other people's videos that I saw, and I really wanted to focus on a high mileage, I should say in quotations, because 50 miles for a lot of people is a lot, but to get to like that high level, it's arguably not that much. I know people do like 80, 90 miles a week when they get up there, which is probably where I want to be. But that being said, overall it did go good. The things I would change would be the taper weeks. I would shorten my taper because I think I did a 3-week when I thought I was doing 2. I would make my speed workouts come in a little earlier. I know I did them a little late, about halfway through the training block, so that wasn't too helpful. And lastly, I would change the way I did my workout sessions near the end. Like right when I hit that 60-mile week, I stopped doing strength training because I didn't have time between 11 hours of work a day and then coming home to running and spending another 10 hours a week running on top of a 55-hour week job. It just wasn't for me at that time, but I think now I can dial in and focus a little better and work on it. So that's what we're going to change in the next program. But to talk about this one, the colors go as following. I'll put them up right here. I'm reading them off my schedule because I don't remember them. Yellow was a half-mile speed works. So I did about a half mile at a sub 3-minute pace was the goal. I achieved it like for the first half of the workout, and then the second half they would always go to like a 3:06, a 3:07, but it was still good work just to get in. I was doing on a bit of an incline on my path. And then green days were thresholds. I based those just off more of a mileage thing than a time limit. Personally, for me, I find it easier to achieve a mileage goal, like 6 miles, 5 miles instead of 30 minutes, because then you end weird in a half mile. Personally, that's not for me. I just like to get it done and just have the solid number of the miles. And orange days on the calendar were like more marathon training prep days, as in like I would run 1 mile slow and then 2 miles at or below marathon pace and just keep repeating throughout the whole long run. Those usually did follow on a Sunday long run, and I think those were probably some of the better runs that I had overall, and I felt pretty good near the end of them. And surprisingly, I wasn't that tired. So I would definitely do more of those because I think they went really well. And lastly, the purple days were a taper. Like I said, the taper was a little long, and red was the marathon. So that gives you an idea of the schedule. Like I said, all of my marathon training for this program was videoed, and it's up on the channel. You can check it out. It's the Detroit 2023 series. Every single week, everything I did, everything I adjusted, but this schedule that you're seeing right here is exactly what I followed. I did adjust it a little during training, but the picture reflects that. So for me, as you can see, the first half of it was more of just building up my mileage. It was a big chunk of just, let's hit that 50-mile goal. That was my goal for the longest time, just keep it at 50 miles straight and see how that went. And once we got there, we slowly added up to like a 55 and then a 60. Felt good during all those. It was that slow buildup that really worked. I like following the principle of like 10% mileage a week increase when you start building up, and for me that worked out really well. I didn't feel pain at all. I never had a bad session with it. It was just me building up to get that solid base, and I felt once I had that was good for speed. But it turns out I probably could have stayed out at like a 45 and then slowly worked my way up to 50 and then added in the speed, because what I was doing was I was just putting off speed work, which wasn't intentional. I just felt like I needed a solid base before I could do that, but pushing up to the 60 really just didn't help the base, because I could have just slowly increased like 2 miles a week instead of doing the 5s and stuff like that, or the 10%. That's what I should have done, and that's what I'll do for the next one. I'm going to write up my next program, and I'll show you Probably in next week's video. The speed workout, I really saw improvement. Near the end is where I saw the greatest improvement of it. At first, I was very skeptical of the speed works with the days of just doing the half-mile stretches and the tempo works in the mix. I really felt defeated sometimes, but I think the biggest thing you'll notice is after you do something like the half-mile intervals or something like that, and you give yourself enough time to rest in between sets, it's up to you. For me, some were 30 seconds, some were 2 minutes. It all depends on you and how you feel. I think as long as you're getting it done, it doesn't really matter. I know some people will change that, and that's up to them and up to you to decide. For me, it worked out just trying to do 30 seconds for the first couple and then just being fine with getting the 3-minute breaks in between. And I wouldn't notice it on the speed work days like that, but when it came to a tempo day, I could really keep it way under. I was running those at like 6:30s when I needed to be at a 6:50. So overall, every interval day felt amazing, like I said. And even the speed works on the marathon days felt incredible until like the last 2 miles of speed, which, I mean, that's how it goes. That's how you imagine it going. So I can't complain. Overall, I think that was really good. Another thing I talked about earlier was the taper. I feel like the taper went a little too long. As you can see, it was more of a 3-week, even though I figured that it was 1, 2, and then the 3rd week was the marathon, so that wasn't considered the taper. But I probably should have looked more into it, and I think it is actually that way. So that was a 3-week taper, which I would have changed because I was just bored by the time the marathon came around, and I think I lost some of the training with a 3-week taper. I know some people prefer a 3-week. For me, that wasn't it. Like I said, I was just bored and I couldn't find the groove because I was just out of it. And I think some days I could have did a little more, or I definitely should have worked on more gym workouts and just strength building stuff throughout that whole thing and stretching a lot more. So that is definitely something to look at and work on throughout this next program, which I will do. So let's talk a little bit about the week of the marathon. Like I said, not much running. I think I did 2 days before the marathon running, like a Wednesday or Thursday. I did a nice 2 or 3, and then the Saturday, the day before, I do the ShakeOut, which is considered the supreme. If you run Detroit, you know that's their little challenge thing. The day before, they host a 1 mile and a 5K, and I did those, and they were just more fun runs. Like I said, it was just something to stretch out. I didn't run them too fast. I think I ran the 1 mile in a 9:30, and I did the 5K probably a 10-minute pace on those. I don't remember. I did them more for the medal, and it cost the same to sign up as when I did the first time. I think the first year I signed up, it was 160, 180 because I signed up super late. And when you start to sign up at the beginning of the year, it's about 150 for the Supreme package, and you get a jacket and stuff. So I signed up for that to do that because I was like, well, this is what I paid the first time, and it's something that's just tradition now to do that race before. And I do enjoy doing them. I think they're fun. They're a nice way to shake out, but get in the community and get to know, just get a feel of everything. And I think that was really good overall. But those, like I said, they were just shakeouts. They were just building up for the marathon. The marathon, I went in with plenty of snacks and goodies and stuff like that. I had my Rice Krispies, my gels, my goos, tablets, salt tablets, all that stuff. I lost my gummy bears right on the bridge somewhere. Don't know where they went. So there's just a bunch of gummy bears on the bridge somewhere, which is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. A lot of the marathon came down to me probably not pacing properly and getting a little too excited. I don't think I went out too fast, but right around where we entered the tunnel back to Detroit, the pacer dropped a water at the aid station, and he fell behind, obviously, and he probably caught back up to the other pacers that were behind him that were the same 3 hours. He was probably 10 feet in front of them. But I just stayed out in front, and then I probably sped up a little on the tunnel and stuff like that. In mile 16, about the half marathon point, they caught back up to me, and I stayed with them for a little bit and fell off. I think the training program really showed that it did work, even though it didn't give me the results I wanted. It was a big program to take on and a lot of work. It was a lot of work. It took a lot of time, a lot of days of just like, ooh, I don't really feel like doing this. It's too windy and stuff like that. But ultimately, just getting out there and getting it done was the best thing to do. And the program is designed to miss a couple days. I think I only missed one real day, but I made it up by splitting that day and adding it on to other days. I like to follow the program pretty like solid to what it is and what it's supposed to be. Personally, I think that's the best way to do it. Obviously, the program is designed so you can miss a couple days, but I don't want to. I don't like to. I like to keep it as solid as possible, and sadly you have to work stuff around it. Like, had to miss a couple events with friends or hangouts, but for me that's what I wanted. This is the goal. This is something that I want to do. Here making the video right now because it's what I enjoy. It's what I like to do. Hopefully someone gets a little something. Hopefully you figure out something from my mistakes or my training plan, and you see it and you take it and you find something you like out of it, and maybe you adapt that into your training program, or maybe you just steal the whole thing like I said. I would definitely change it, like I said, end the taper earlier or later, end the taper later, strength training more. I really fell off with that, like I said, and just overall, I mean, I guess you'll have to see because the next training program's coming up pretty soon. I think this is the last day of just relaxing. This would be Sunday, the Sunday before Halloween, and you're going to see this video hopefully Monday, so the Monday before Halloween. And we got a lot more coming. Hopefully I could get a few more products coming on the channel. I just bought a new microphone, so hopefully that turned out well and the audio sounds pretty good. We'll see with that. Hopefully we can get a few more products like my running bracelet that we've seen in a couple shorts and videos and stuff that I've made so far. I'd like to get some shoe sponsors or shoe recommendations. I just want to see what I can do and what's to come. I think we're going to start biking as well, cross training for an Ironman. I don't know about swimming. You won't see that till way later, but we're definitely going to do the biking on a trainer. I did buy a bike for the Ironman to try it, but right now we got to focus on Glass City and getting that sub 3. So hopefully this next training program goes good, and we'll see you in the next one.